All right, I think we're live.
There we go. We are on. I think every single one of our live streams starts with, and wow, now we're live.
Okay, we'll have to do a new intro.
I think of something else to say. I think as I was uploading them all to YouTube, I was like, every single one of them starts like that. Oh my goodness. Well, we are live and we're happy to have folks joining us live. We have some special guests we're going to bring on in a few minutes, and we're just going to chat for a second. If you're out there and are able to see us, if you can just post something in the comments so we know that we actually do exist in the virtual world, in the whatever, in the cloud. Anyway, we're happy to have everybody.
And I guess happy September. I mean, we've got holiday weekend coming up. Hopefully that's going well for people, and still hot and humid in Texas. How chilly is it in Colorado?
It's actually going to get in the 80s today.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to be, like in the morning, it's in the 40s now, but it's supposed to get, I think it's supposed to get below freezing next week.
Okay.
They're calling for snow. Higher elevations, there's snow.
So do you see snow on Pikes Peak all year round though, right?
No, not right now. Usually it snows again up. It's actually snowed up there 2 days ago, but not enough that we could see it from our house.
Okay.
So I think next week we might see it. I love the snow though.
That will be exciting. You'll have to report. That's how we can open the next Facebook Live, is whether there's snow on Pikes Peak or not.
Exactly. I'll go out on my deck.
Because inquiring minds want to know.
Exactly. So we do have some people joining us, so that's awesome. Janika's there, and Katrin's there, Roseanne from Springfield. Roseanne, where are you in Springfield? What's the name of your facility? Just out of curiosity. I used to live in Springfield, Virginia. And Anne is here also, so we're happy to have her.
Inquiring minds want to know, are you open yet? And if not, how soon? So, we're very inquisitive today, which I think is
because you were pretty close last time we chatted. Yeah. Well, we will go ahead and get started. So do you want to introduce our special guest, Susan?
I will. We have two special guests today. So we're going to be on a quad today in our Facebook Live. So super excited about this topic. It's one that we don't always talk about and spend time on, but going green is something that the Doggers definitely believes in, sustainability and just being, kind to the earth. I think it goes with, if you love animals, that you also love outdoors and earth and what we can do. So we've got two of our favorite people that share that passion with us. One of them is from the Doggers, our very own Charlotte Biggs, who ran the first green pet center that I knew about operating over in Dripping Springs, Texas. Charlotte and Betty ran that from the late 90s. And so they were green when people didn't know what going green meant. So we're excited for Charlotte to share her wisdom about that. And then we also have Alex McKinnon, who is the founder and CEO of Kin Inc. and our favorite pet bowls, which you may think, how can a disposable pet bowl be green? Well, it is. It's compostable, recyclable. And as you guys know, Alex has his data and facts and can tell you that you're going to save more energy using Kin bowls than you use. So we know Alex is very passionate about the earth and going green too. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, we're happy to have everybody. We're all in blue except for Alex. I said before I should have changed into my red shirt, but whatever. This is how it is. But we're really happy to have you guys here. And I do agree that I think going green, being kind in general, I think is a key thing right now. Being kind to the environment is just as important. So that's what we're going to talk about, is being kind to the environment, and just some other things that you might want to do at your facility just to really set yourself apart while you're being kind to the world at the same time. So I will just throw out, I guess, really to both of you, but let's start with Charlotte. Way back when you had your facility, why did you make that decision? Because you made that decision when you built, didn't you?
We did. Partly it it was part of my personal philosophy as far as being as natural and holistic as possible. So it just seemed natural for me to take that into the business that we were building. I knew that it's, and also where we were. So I was building just outside of Austin, Texas. So Austin, Texas is the home of Whole Foods. And so there's that green natural element to Austin, Texas as well. So there was kind of that environment or a piece of the environment that did that. But basically the reason I did it is because of the love of the pets. It's safer for the pets, safer for the people, meaning the staff who work there every day. So people, the pets, the environment, all of that. So that's why I did it. It's just healthier and safer for the pets to go that direction best we could.
And then I know, Alex, just being kind to the environment is critical to your whole company and your whole vision and mission. So kind of why did that strike a chord in you when you started?
Sure. Well, I'm sure like a lot of the people on this, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm sure like a lot of the people on this Facebook Live, we're a values-driven company. And when we were first getting started, we got our team together and we said, well, what are our values? And we had long debates. And first thing we decided was you can only have 3 values because nobody can remember more than 3 things. And so our 3 values are innovation, sustainability, and trust. And sustainability is really important to us. Actually, we think there are 4 pillars to sustainability, but the planet is definitely near the top of the list. And then behind that is people, pets, and profits. But protecting the planet is just one of our core values. So it basically drives virtually everything we do.
Awesome. So I think Robin's freezing, and
she is frozen.
So I'll ask the next question, and hopefully Robin will get unfrozen in the meantime. So, so more specifically, like what types of considerations did you take into going green, and what aspects did you look at? And we'll start with Charlotte, because there's a lot of, I mean, sometimes I think we think really big things like what energy we use and all that.
So I looked at it in several phases. One is I looked at the actual physical facility because we were going to do it as we built it. And we did things based on our geography. We did things that would help sustain the facility over the long term, create the environment that we wanted. So we were able to put in a rainwater collection system. We put in an aerobic septic system, which is like a self-contained treatment system. So you can discharge landscape water, after a certain amount of time, that sort of thing from it. We had high-tech, some people would refer to them to trench drains, but drains put in our system made of a high-tech, it's actually like what Motorola runs their chemicals through, okay? High-tech material that dog hair, bacteria, all the things that come out of animals would never stick in those drains, if you would, just to ensure that we never had a backup of germs and things that could create some type of disease or environment for disease, that sort of thing. So I looked at facility-wise, extra insulation, things like that would enhance the reduction in energy that's spent to heat and cool the place, also better for sound absorption and all of that. And we did everything that we could that would fit in the construction budget. So all of a sudden you're at your budget end and you're going, okay, solar panels I cannot do. Mm-hmm. So, that didn't make it, and that sort of thing. So structure and construction wise, we did what we could that way. And then we looked at operationally, what could we do to make it as green, natural, holistic as possible. And operationally, there are easy things to do. I mean, energy saving appliances like your refrigerators and freezers and your printers, the Energy Star type of a format. So you can select those things. Front loading washing machines, they use half the water that top loaders use. Be it residential or commercial, front loaders use less water. Low volume toilets and other fixtures that would save water. Low chemical VOC paints, which were kind of new back in my day when I was building, but volatile organic chemicals were not part of our paint. So you eliminate that sort of thing. Long-term light bulbs. Back in my day, we had to go research where you could find these things because they were not so readily available. But there was one company that had these fluorescent bulbs that were going to go into all of our lodging areas that were state of the art at that time, readily available now, but burnt less energy. So operationally, we picked products and we built procedures to ensure that we saved energy, became efficient in what we were doing, and all of that sort of thing. So the advantage, we consider those things because the advantage to the business, number one, you're saving water and cost. Even our rainwater collection and aerobic septic system, we didn't have a water or waste bill. So you're saving that monthly monies, if you would. So it was good for the business. So we looked at facility, we looked at operations, and we looked at what was good for the business. And first and foremost was what's best for the pets. So
it's interesting because I didn't think about the equipment as much. I always think of products, I guess, and then how you build. But like I'm looking at my refrigerator, the fact that it is an energy, but they're so common now. So I'm sure that it was not as common. I didn't realize that the washers, there's different in terms of water usage for the washing machine. So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Alex, especially you being in product, a lot of us know there's waste in how products are packaged and shipped. And also, I know that's not the case with Kimball. So can you talk about how easy or hard was that to actually implement in your business?
Well, certainly. And just as a quick forethought, the reason I met Charlotte was at a conference in Las Vegas, as somebody said, they were listening to us and they said, you need to meet Charlotte. So I ran over and grabbed her. And so that's how, because of our green values, that's actually how we met Charlotte. And she's an amazing person. It's always a challenge going after her. So I was sitting there thinking, what can you say that's halfway as interesting as Charlotte? And I'm not sure if I'll get there, but just a few things about our company. We are a virtual company, and we did that to save money, to save commuting time for everybody. So we're a virtual company. We have people around the country. When we lived in California, we did have solar power. We changed all the light bulbs to LEDs, and I could go on, but I think Charlotte did an amazing job. So to Susan's point on the product, when we started out working with some veterinarians and learned some issues about the true or lack of true sanitation with ordinary pet bowls. And we said, well, if we're going to make something that is actually germ-free, we also need to make it better for the environment. So we did a lot of research, and where we ultimately landed was with sugarcane fiber, or it's called Bag S. And if you're not familiar with our product, it's a sugarcane fiber bowl. You just put it on the ground and you put this frame on top of it to make it spill proof. And it has a non-skid rim. But back to the sustainability part, we did a bunch of research, and it turns out that when sugarcane is grown, no matter where in the world, and then they pull the sugar out that people put in their coffee or tea, they typically burn the sugarcane fiber, which creates all sorts of air pollution. But instead of burning it, we gather it all together and have it all shipped to our FDA compliant factory, where we mold them into different shapes and sizes of these bowls. So we're preventing a lot of air pollution from happening. And even though it's sugarcane fiber and it is 100% compostable, and when we first did tests with compostability at our home office in California, it went from this to helping grow tomatoes and roses in 5 weeks. But most people in this country don't have access to compostability. So probably the biggest sustainability gift is you can recycle curbside the sugarcane fiber refills with paper, your newspapers, whatever you end up recycling. And because it requires a lot of education, we also became quickly a proud member of the Pet Sustainability Coalition. and most people haven't heard of them, but they're a great organization based out of one of the best states in the country, right, Robin? But Colorado.
Exactly.
And they did a life cycle analysis on what the impact of using a sugarcane fiber refill from Ken is versus washing, like with a dishwasher or with hot water and soap. And they start with the sugarcane growing in the fields, and they have, harvesting, and it actually never ends, because where you think it ends is when you recycle it, and then it's used time and time again. So the case study they did determined that when you recycle these in the paper stream, instead of using a dishwasher or washing, you actually reduce, on a life cycle basis, you reduce environmental waste by 122% versus washing by reducing greenhouse gases, electricity, and water, and also serving as a replacement for using virgin paper materials. And if you want to learn more about our case study, you go to sustainablepetbowl.com, and there's a downloadable PDF. So hopefully that gives some insights on why we chose this, because it makes a huge positive impact by reducing waste in the environment.
Yeah, and I think for those that don't know, both Susan and I use the bowls at our house, but I also feel like for pet care facilities, all of the savings of, the water and just ease of use, but also your staff is going to be super happy because they aren't washing dishes as much. So I think it's a great morale booster as well to be helping the environment and building your staff's morale, because they don't have to wash as many dishes, which is always nice. So do you guys think, and I'll throw this out to Susan as well, because my personal feeling is I feel like over the past maybe 4 to 5 years in particular, I feel like people are more interested than ever in sustainability and in, being environmentally aware. I mean, do you guys feel like that's the case for pet parents today?
I do. I mean, I think people are becoming more educated of the impact of chemicals, especially, which I think is one of the things we don't always focus on, all the different products we use around our pets. Their bodies are so much smaller. And if you're like me, I'm living in Houston, our air has so many chemicals in it that I think we really become focused on how do we minimize chemical exposure everywhere else. And I think that, it does make a difference in your lifespan and health of your animals. I have seen that.
Hey, Susan, Alex and Charlie, can you guys hear? Because Susan sounds like you're going in and out to me.
I can hear her fine.
I could hear her fine as well. Yeah.
You're frozen again, Robin. Robin's having internet issues this time, so.
Going in and out.
Yeah.
So while she comes back, let me add to what you just said, Susan. I say yes, the answer to Robin's question. I think pet parents are truly more engaged with what's green and sustainable now, and it's just increased. I mean, I started my facility and working with pets. We've lost everybody now. Can you guys hear me? Oh,
yes.
Actually, okay. Yeah. So when I built my facility, it was new. I mean, that concept was kind of new. And so I had to tell the story, but pet owners love their pets. And so anything that you're doing that creates a safer and a more healthy environment for their pet is something that they love. They have great value for that. And I would say, Alex, Ken's clean bowls weren't available when I had my facility, but if they were, I would have been using them, because one of the things that I shared with my clients all the time is we have rainwater collection system. It's the purest and cleanest water on earth. It falls directly from the clouds. It hasn't run across the ground and picked up seepage of oil into creeks and lakes and all that sort of thing.
All right, I don't know what happened last time, but we had to just start the live stream over. So we're all back online again. So thanks for your patience. I know some few folks will hopefully jump over onto this one. So we'll wait a minute or so. You guys can keep talking. I'm going to pull up my Facebook real quick to see what it's doing.
Well, so since we're talking, one of the things to build on what Susan was saying that we learned is that pets, dogs and cats, can smell cleaning chemicals. And one of the billions of learnings we've had from our amazing clients is that when you can use fewer cleaning chemicals to clean the bowls and the related equipment, that they're actually going to be more likely to eat their food and drink their water, even if they're anxious while away from their pet parents. I'm not sure if anybody could hear that, but we found that a valuable insight.
Yeah, and I think that hydration is really important. I mean, it was something I hadn't focused on until Alex, you educated me on that, and I have seen a big difference. I mean, I feed raw to my pets, so it's not unusual for them. They don't drink as much as a kibble-fed diet. But I have noticed after switching to Ken bowls for my water that they definitely drink more. And hydration is really a keystone of pet health and human health.
Yes.
Absolutely. Especially if you have a little bit of wine.
And you know, I usually have more than a little. So, yeah.
Or if you do it at high altitude, then water's really important.
It is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, we do have folks joining us back, so we apologize for the mistake or whatever happened. We were just saying that sometimes when you're trying to put out a positive message, the world doesn't always like that. And so things happen to work against you. But we are back on. And for those of you that are just joining us or rejoining us, we are here with Charlotte Biggs, who is one of the Dog Gurus coaches, but also owned a green facility back before anyone knew what going green even meant. And so she's providing us with some insight on that. And then we also have Alex McKinnon, who's the CEO of Kin Inc., talking about some of the products that go into, some of the things that go into their products, and also their mission and values over there at his company. So I'm going to post some links in the comments, Susan. So if you want to ask the next question while I'm doing that, that would be awesome.
So, our first one, Charlotte was sharing, we were all sharing how we think pet parents do really care about us going green. You know, I think sometimes there's a perception that it costs more, either in actual dollars out or staff time. And I guess, Charlotte, what was your experience in operating your center? Was it more costly or not? What did you find?
At the time that I started my facility in green, it was more costly because there weren't as many suppliers or providers of green or natural products. What it meant for me was I just personally had to do more research to find the products that I was looking for. However, I think the value that we got for the services that we delivered and the products that we paid for, more than paid for it. So, you know, like bottom line, it was a cost savings to us over time, and emotional health, staff, and environment savings of their health, if you would, which had great value for us too. Time has passed, because I opened my doors in 1988 or 89. There are much more readily available green, natural, sustainable products ready to use. Even the mainline suppliers of products for our industry, all you have to do is ask them, you know, some of the cleaning and disinfectant chemicals, what do you have that's natural, you know, type of a thing, or that's where you're leading to, and they can help you. So it was expensive when I first started. It's not so much anymore. And all I can say is that the savings that some of the products, that equipment and supplies, the savings to the corrosion and rust and that sort of things, to some of the fixtures, to the wear and tear of some of the environment, that savings was huge. You know, like I said, you know, we didn't have a water or sewage bill ever type of a thing. And then some of the things that we use just simply reduce the wear and tear on staff, pets, and the facility. So yeah, savings were there. It was worth it.
I've been blessed to visit Betty and Charlotte in their home several times, and their water fixtures look brand new. And that's that rainwater collection versus mine, who have the hard water and you have to try to get them clean. And I mean, that takes a lot of time trying to clean that off. So that's great. So
yeah, I would say a lot of those pet care facilities where they've got obviously enclosures or metal crates or whatever it is, and are constantly replacing the doors or replacing different parts of it because of corrosion. And that corrosion is something that happens because of the elements you're using to clean your surfaces. So I do think sometimes we just assume that corrosion is just a natural place and you have to just replace things. But I agree with Susan. I've been to Charlotte and Betty's house too, and it is kind of amazing the difference it makes just with using green products. So even if you're paying a little bit more for that product, in the long run, it's going to help, and you're helping the environment. So that's awesome too.
And I know, Alex, you guys have done studies on the time savings of not washing bowls, which I don't think is anybody's favorite job. And I think what we love is that time not washing bowls is time they can spend engaging with pets. But what's your studies found as far as time savings and cost savings?
That's a great question, Susan. And actually, we worked with a bunch of our pet boarding daycare clients around the country who did time studies and gave us the data. And then we also, the Pet Sustainability Coalition, figured out a way to create a calculator when you switch from using washing to recycling these. They also have a calculator that calculates how much you reduce greenhouse gases, electricity, water, and waste. And so there's an online calculator called cleanbowlestimator.com, and clean is with a K. And when you plug in three numbers, the number of dogs or cats you have every day, how much you pay your staff, and then do you want to use it for food, water, or both, it will give you the time and dollarized savings in terms of the money and the time, which to your point is important. But it also has at the lower half of the calculator results, it will give you a customized assessment of when you stop washing and you switch to recycling, how much it'll improve your environmental footprint. And that's something that several of our clients have found very interesting. And to answer, I think the original question is, do pet parents, do they care about going green? And we would say emphatically yes, for a couple of reasons. We have several, including Portia Scott, who we met at a Dog Gurus event in Colorado Springs, Dina Janicki, who's in Orlando. They basically started using our product because it's more sustainable. And then our sales during COVID-19, we're struggling just like everybody has. However, these refills are actually increasing in sales these days. And basically people are voting with their wallet or their pocketbook. So we would say emphatically yes, that pet parents are definitely care a lot more about the environment than they did 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I know I was telling Alex this earlier, I just bought like 500 refills for Ranger. So my closet is full of refills because I do use them for feeding my dog at home, and especially on the road. So I travel a lot. Well, not so much this year, but I have been traveling in my RV, and they're great in the RV because I don't have the ability to do as much in terms of size of my sink. I don't have a dishwasher and all that. So I will say that I definitely am using them, and I do like the fact that I know I'm helping the environment as well. So I did put some links in there. I put the link to the calculator that Alex was talking about. And I will say I have sat with several people and we've gone through that calculator together, pet facility owners who are just blown away when they see the results. So it's really a cool way to just see what you could do to save just by using some of that. And then again, like we're talking about the environment and the time savings, but your employees are going to be happy not having to do as many dishes. And as Susan said, they have more time then to actually spend on doing the operations, and especially caring for the pet, which we think is very important, obviously. So I love that calculator. I think it's super helpful. And I have seen lots of people kind of have their eyes open by just running some numbers through that. We did earlier. Jennifer said she couldn't stay on, so she's going to listen to the replay, but she did pop in just to say that she loves their clean bowls, and Jennifer's from ABC Pet Resort out in Houston. So thanks for that comment too, Jennifer. All right, what else do we want to talk about, Susan?
Well, I'm going to get Charlotte's input on this, because I think a lot of people think that marketing that I'm green or trying to be sustainable in my business only matters if I'm doing the big things like rainwater collection or solar, wind or something. So I guess, how would you respond to that?
I would say that that's not true. Okay. Everybody can do something. Okay. And it is something that pet owners care about. They want to know what you're doing and what kind of environment that you're providing for their pets. So, whatever that is a reflection on you, and you are a reflection on your business. So everything from, we engage in a recycling program. Even if they don't come pick up the recycles at your place, put them in an empty enclosure or a storage closet and have someone take them to a recycle center. The cardboard and the canned food cans and all the things that you go through on a daily basis at kin bowls, that you go through on a daily basis, keep that and take those things to a recycle center. Everybody can do recycle. Everybody can buy long-lasting light bulbs. Everybody can do something that will have an effect on the environment of their facility, as well as an effect in the environment as a totality. Pet parents care. They love their pets. I mean, they love their pets. They want to provide a safe, healthy, comfortable place for their pets to stay when they're away from them. And, anything that you can share with them that you're doing that is positive, favorable to their pet, that sort of thing. So when I did my marketing, I marketed the fact that we had pure water. Okay. I would market, kin bowls weren't available during my days, but that if we had kin bowls, I would be marketing that we use this thing called kin bowl because the water is clean and pure and unaffected by, even dishwasher, detergent, sanitizing type of chemicals that have been rinsed off, but yeah, dogs smell better than we do, type of a thing. That you're giving them a higher quality experience for their health and their safety while they're with you. So everybody can do a little bit of something. Printers are Energy Star. Like you said, your refrigerator, you look up and it's got the Energy Star on it. Those types of decisions can go a long way in saying that we're doing all that we can do.
Before our Facebook Live crashed a little while ago, I was actually saying that, I think it all got cut off, but I was saying I don't think this is an all or nothing sort of scenario. And I think, when you built your facility, Charlotte, you started out, well, there's a lot of facilities out there that are already built, but that I don't think it means you can't do anything. I would say start with what you can, and over time you may start to do more. I mean, I know just even little things of making sure that, you are just recycling whatever you can and you're using whatever products are available. I mean, I don't think you have to go out right from the get-go and install solar panels, but I will say solar panels are probably a lot cheaper than when you looked at them, Charlotte, years ago. So, but I think it's a matter of doing any little thing that shows your pet parents that you care about the environment. I will say this is not pet industry related, but I will say in Virginia, I volunteered at a church, and we used to use styrofoam cups. Like every church in the world used to use styrofoam cups. I can tell you we phased all those out because people started complaining. They were like, I can't believe you guys are using styrofoam cups. Not because of the price, not because they didn't work, not because of any of that, but we started getting members of the church community saying, this isn't good for our environment. And they eventually did phase those out. And I think that was really about 5 years ago that all kind of started. And I think that is the direction that we're going as a culture, at least in the United States. All right. So Alex, what do you want to say about marketing and use of any products that, people are using that are obviously from your company, how do you recommend people promote those and taking advantage of what goes into producing that? And I guess particularly in terms of the clean bowl.
Well, we do think it is important for people to market what is relevant and what is important, what is true to their clients. And so, for example, we have clients that tell their clients that they're drinking or eating out of a germ-free bowl, but they're very quick to tell them that this is sugarcane fiber, it's not paper, it is a sustainable byproduct of the sugarcane refining process, and they educate their clients on that. And that is going very well. And as a matter of fact, we now have multiple clients around the country where we're starting to do digital billboards, roadside billboards. And so it will be driven primarily by the brand of the facility, and they're advertising their exceptional pet care. But part of that is the benefits that come with using this product. And one of the facilities that did it, Shaw, experienced a 37% increase in terms of their website visitors when using the digital billboard. And we're not suggesting that every facility should use a billboard. It's just an example. But also related to that, since so many people are on social media these days, we have clients now who are starting to promote the fact that they're using these because they're better for the environment. And we think that's an important thing to do.
Yeah, that's one
What
thing.
was on that billboard?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, Susan.
Okay.
I just want to know what was on that billboard. Was it about the sustainability stuff that they do at their facility, or what was the aspect that they were highlighting? Do you know?
It was principally two things. It was exceptional pet care, and it was germ-free bowls.
Awesome.
And the reason they decided to do that is we are in the COVID-19 pandemic, and there's lots of research to show that that dishwashers don't kill all viruses or all bacteria. And so what they're seeing is their clients, the pet moms, and actually are interested in the sanitation of the bowls.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know I'm stepping on Susan because she wants to talk, but I just have to say something. And that is, there's this Facebook on Facebook, or I guess I've seen it on Instagram too. There's this picture that occasionally I'll see pop up, and it talks about. So I want you to explain what this is, because I used to notice it on my own dog's bowl before I was using the clean bowl. But it's basically an ad or a picture of a bowl, and then it talks about all the germs that are in that bowl, and it's the whole point of the little picture is that make sure you're washing really well. And if you've ever felt your dog's bowl, if you're using like a stainless steel bowl, it has this slime on it. And I remember I said this to you one time, Alex. I was like, what's up with this slime? Like, I have to scrub it to get it off my bowl, which I don't have to worry about with the clean bowl. But it's just interesting because that ad goes around on social media. And then every time I see it, I always post a link to your site to say, just use this instead. But what is that? It's because that doesn't happen with our food. It's something about the dog and how they eat, and then the bacteria that's left afterwards, I guess.
Well, basically, our understanding from the research that we've done is every time a dog or a cat eats or drinks, they stick their tongue out to lap up the water. And every time their tongue sticks out, their own bacteria from their own mouth falls down into the bowl. And it's their own bacteria, so they're not getting themselves sick from that. But what happens within about 24 hours is that bacteria starts to morph into different things. One of the things it starts to morph into is oral plaque, which is the #1 determinant of how long dogs and cats can live. But to your point, that pink slime is basically morphine bacteria. And even though it originated from within the mouth of the dog or the cat, you can start to see it after about 24 hours. And the dog and cat can actually smell it, even though it came from their own mouth. They can smell it, and that deters them from drinking enough water or eating enough food. And I see Charlotte nodding her head. So I'd love to have her jump in and say whatever her understanding is, especially if it's different.
No, it's absolutely the same. I'm sitting here agreeing because we knew that same process. And we had a fastidious, again, because Ken blows weren't available.
Yeah.
I had my facility. So I sold it in 2013. I think you guys opened in 2014. But we had a fastidious process we went through. We had those automated, like Nelson water bowls that filled themselves up, but they needed to be pulled and cleaned every day because of that reason. And it was quite an educational process that I needed to take my employees through to educate them to the fact, no, you just because it automatically fills itself up doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be washed. It's not washing itself. That bacteria, that slime, you could take it off, pour the water out, and you'd see that slime sliding out of the bowl. And one of the most critical things that I will say about a dog that's in our care is its ability to drink water. They're nervous anyway. A lot of times they don't drink enough. They're tense, they're panting, and their need for hydration is even higher in our environment. So anything we can do to encourage them to drink water. I mean, if I had my facility now, I'd be using Ken bowls just because of all of those advantages of especially increased intake of water and hydration for the pet, but also the sanitation. I mean, the cleanliness of them is just, you can't match it.
All right, Susan, I'm letting you talk now. So.
Oh, okay. Maybe I think we had a question, so I'll talk and then you can do the question. So, okay. As far as marketing and social media, I mean, Charlotte shared kind of how you can share this with pet parents and you can put it on your website, but I think you can make it fun with social media. Like the day you're loading up recycling to take out, you may not think that's interesting, but you could do a short little video that we're loading it up and we're driving off, which would show them that you are sustainable and you care. So I think you can do some real short, fun post on what you are doing that's environmental friendly and share it on social media without it being a big we're green marketing push.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I was going to say to your point, Charlotte, well, and what Alex was talking about as well, when I had my facility, I can remember certain clients would come to me and say, when my dog gets home, he just drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks. And at that time, when I first opened, I wasn't really tracking water consumption. But I do remember that there would be parents that would say, my dog just drinks. And I never realized that could be my fault. That could be the products I'm using that are preventing that dog from drinking. So I do think that's something to be aware of if you have that pet facility and you get those issues where the owner says the dog doesn't drink. And especially because you should be tracking water consumption, especially if you notice the dogs aren't drinking, you fill their bowl up and they haven't had any all day. That is an issue to be aware of. So I think that's a really valid point. So Donna did ask, do you have any cleaning product recommendations, which ingredients to look for, which to avoid, or recommended trusted brands, other than obviously Kin Inc., which we would recommend? Yeah. Do you have any other ones, Charlotte, that you would recommend? Or Alex, if you're working with Pet Sustainability Coalition, if you have any particular brands or products you would recommend?
What did you use, Charlotte? I know you had to research and find cleaning products at the time.
Yeah, in my day, I had to do the research, and what I found was like for a natural, literally the first organic cleaning agent, so soap, if you would, was by Amway. They had something called Liquid Organic Cleaner, and we used that on everything. We cleaned our enclosures, our floors, and groom room, all of those things. It's now called Legacy of Clean. But you didn't have 7th generation and all of the other things that are out there now. So I stayed with the Legacy of Clean even once they changed their name, because it was the same non-chemical configuration to do cleaning with, if you would. I did use some chemicals. My goal was to reduce the amount of chemicals and exposure to the pets in my care. I used it was a chloramine system. So it was that buffered hydrochlorate, chlorine type of a product to disinfect my enclosures, my play yards, sidewalks, and all of the things that we did in that fashion. And that's it. I just did the research to see what would work for my particular environment. And so there's so many more choices now. You can almost, if it's for, I would do two things. One, you can Google and do research to see what products you like. You should be asking your supplier, so who delivers your supplies to you, what natural products that they have. When it comes to some of the major products that you may be running through your disinfectant sprayers and things like that, have the conversation with the company. Like I think HT Technology, they have some natural products. I don't know that they top of mind will talk to you about that unless you say to them, I want the least exposure possible with an effectiveness. What products do you have that would give me that? So it takes some conversation and self-education to get yourself to where you want to make the decision on which product that you want to use. So Googling is available now, and conversations with your suppliers. It's like when we talk with Alex, I mean, it's educational. We find out what it is he's got and why that's so important. And so some of our other key suppliers in our industry can also have those conversations with you as well.
And I love that, because I think that it's demand will result in change. So the more we go out to our suppliers and say, we want the most natural, least chemical products out there that will be effective for the job that we need to do, we can drive more choice in those products.
That's right.
Alex,
Alex, do you have any that you've heard of?
Well, just to build on what Charlotte was saying, and the first thing I'm going to say is I am not a chemical engineer and I'm not an expert, so I would defer to Charlotte. But I think HT Technologies, they're a good company. They've been around for a long time, and they really know the industry very well and what facilities need. So I think then we've been near them in a lot of the conferences. So I think they would definitely be someone to ask. And then because I am a fear-free certified professional, and we do believe in some of the things that, in the mission of fear-free, they do also recommend some products. And one of the ones I hear about more often than others from our clients is Rescue. Again, I'm not an expert, but their name seems to be getting some good traction out there. So that could be another one you could research and consider.
And I did put links. I just put a link for Fear Free. They have a lot of different concepts on their website. And then I also put a link in there for health technologies as well. So you can find some of those. And I'll put a link for Rescue as well in a second. We have about 10 minutes left, I think, or so. And so I wanted to just switch gears really quickly to we're talking about sort of how to separate yourself from your competition and help the environment all at the same time. And just a little bit of a twist on that is Susan and I have worked with people that have facilities who have done things like specifically brought in people that were released from prison to do work type programs. There was at one point, I don't know if they're still there, but when I visited, I think it was Portland years ago, there was a daycare there that their whole mission was to really train people who were disadvantaged or had some kind of a issue, whether they were young kids and got into trouble or prisoners that were released. But their whole mission was to help build an environment where people could get trained and get a marketable skill by bringing them in and hiring them as employees. And I know, Alex, you have a kind of a twist on that with some of the stuff that you do, but can you just talk a little bit about that? I just want to throw out ideas of what else you can do to help the world, really, with part of your facility.
Well, that's a great question. And I guess my best answer to that is, again, we define sustainability as 4 pillars. There's the planet, which we've been talking about today. There's people, there's pets, and there's profit. Because if you don't make a profit, you're not going to be around to take care of the other things. So we shouldn't ignore the profit. But on the people side, because business is really all about people, we decided right after we started our company that we needed some we needed some partners in certain areas. And so we started in 2014 partnering with an organization in Southern California called OPARC. And they are staffed entirely 100% by people with disabilities. And we decided for two reasons to work with them. And depending on who on our team you ask and what day it is, you might get the order in different. But first of all, they do an incredible job. Their quality is amazing. And I think they actually try harder because they're people with disabilities. Their quality is amazing, and they give a very fair price. And the second reason to doing it, which is part of sustainability, is it gives people with disabilities the chance to have a job that they otherwise wouldn't have. And I'm not an expert on the topic, but I have heard that on average, a person with disabilities, their job search is 3 times tougher than a person without disabilities. So for those of you out there who have been struggling trying to find a job and you don't have disabilities, just imagine how much harder it would be with somebody that does. So we started working with them in 2014. We started out with simple tasks like doing some packaging work. Then we moved on to some assembly work. Then we moved on to some inspection work. Now they do all of those and some other things, and they do it for our entire product line. And it's very emotionally touching because we all have a lot of stress in our lives. And whenever I go there and I'm walking around and I'm worried about something or I'm thinking about something, some of the most gracious people in the world, they just come running up to us, not just me, but whoever we're with from the team, and they're just smiling and they thank us for giving them a job. And you're thinking, Alex, you think you have a problem? Think again. And they're just so grateful for it. And so we've decided to, going forward, to make them an even bigger part of our supply chain. And again, it's not just because we want to be nice and help people with disabilities, and that's part of it, but they also do an amazing job and their quality is great. And I'm blessed with 2 eyes and 2 ears, and I'm a reasonably normal person, although Susan and Rob and Charlotte may say otherwise. But it not only is the right thing to do, it feels right. And to Robin, so that's what we do, is we hire people with disabilities to do as much of the appropriate work. And I've heard several stories within the industry from pet care facilities who have hired specifically people who have just been released from prison. And I remember hearing a lot of stories like at last fall at a trade conference, and the economy was hot. Pet care service business was booming. Probably one of the number one topics was, I'm losing my employees. I can't retain them because they were job hopping. They were going from one job to the next, and employee retention is a big issue, I think, even today. And the people that I talked to said the people that they hired who had recently been released from prison were some of their best employees, and for several reasons. One is they were very loyal. They were very grateful that you had hired them despite of their criminal record, and so they worked harder. They weren't job hopping, and boy, did they love dogs, because a lot of them had worked with dogs while they were in prison. So again, I'm not the expert on it, but from everything that I've heard, from employee retention to customer service to saving money to helping you grow your business, I think it's definitely something worthy of consideration.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's nice to be a positive influence and part of your community, and that's what it is all about, is supporting the community, whether it's the earth or the people and the pets. So I think for a lot of us that would resonate. So it's been great to get a little insight.
Yeah, and I think as we've been talking about just ways, as we've been talking about ways to generate more revenue, there may be things you can outsource to groups of people like that would help your business. So, and do a quality job. So I think it's definitely something I think we can all do our part in helping the environment and the community at the same time. All right, any last minute questions anyone has, or any last minute comments you have, Susan?
No, I just want to thank both Charlotte and Alex. This is a fun topic. I think we appreciate your experience and wisdom and just giving our audience, things to think about, because every step does matter. It doesn't have to be just the big things. So,
what I'm going to do after this is over is I will combine the two parts of our Facebook Live since we got cut off, I think, in the middle somewhere. But I'm also going to put a post in for our Facebook group. So if you want to continue the discussion, or if you want to talk about other things, you can join our Facebook group at the Dog Gurus group. It's called Grow Your Pet Care Business. And we have a fun time over there. It's a very great group of people. We'll try to help others. So talking about helping each other, there's a whole bunch of supportive community members there that try to help everybody else that has questions. So feel free to join us over there, and I'll put the link for that in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank all of our viewers, and then also for Charlotte and Alex, thanks for joining us. And we will talk to everybody next week.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Have a great Labor Day.